Welcome to Right on Track, a songwriting podcast. Thanks to Tone for tuning in. I'm Demi Michelle Schwartz, and I'm thrilled you're joining me on my songwriting journey. So kick back and relax, don't fall flat, and remember, stay right on track. Hello everyone, welcome back to Right on Track. I'm so excited to welcome back Matteson Gregory. She was on for one of the very first episodes last summer, and now she's back for episode 51, which is crazy. But please welcome Matteson.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm so happy to be back on this show. I remember I was like, oh man, I want to do another Right on Track episode because we had so much fun the very first time we did it.
For
And
sure.
I can't believe it's already like episode 51.
Oh yeah, I
That
know,
is
it's crazy.
So crazy.
Yeah, it flew. And I was so excited when you reached out about being on again. It's May 1st, which means it's the start of Mental Health Awareness Month. And so before we start our chat about finding comfort and empowerment through music, Matteson, can you please share a little bit about Mental Health Awareness Month and why you're so passionate about this time of year?
Mental Health Awareness Month is always in May, and it's always just a month for people to really show their the support for breaking the stigma against mental health awareness. It's something that over the years has really um, come near and dear to my heart, not because of my own personal experiences, but because of others who are close to me who I've seen struggling. And I think, for the most part, I just want people to know that, their mental health, their mental illness does not make them weaker, um, and that it's okay to not be okay, and that I hope they find the strength to continue to live every day, honestly.
We can reflect on our own lives, but also reach out to others and see how they're doing, check in with our
Yes.
loved ones.
Mhm.
And I think that's really important. And I know one way that you and I really deal with our struggles is through music, both as songwriters and listeners of music. And I'm really excited to get into this chat today. But to kick everything off, can you read an amazing quote by Taylor Swift?
I will. I am a huge Swiftie, so I will do the honors. Okay, so Taylor Swift has said, "People haven't always been there for me, but music always has."
So simple, so true. What does this mean to you?
It literally fits me to a T. I mean, if I even look back at like growing up and even, now looking back and being more aware of possibly like, when I was like 13 or even like 15, dealing with anxiety or depression and that, music was my outlet. When people were mean to you or, you go through school, you go through life, music was the one thing I knew I could always come back to that wouldn't hurt me and that would always accept my feelings for how they are and make me feel like my feelings were valid and true.
Exactly. Yeah, I completely 100% agree with you. I think for me, I really started to realize how powerful music is in high school and definitely in college when I started songwriting. And I think it was like, during school. I definitely wasn't popular in school. I didn't have the best high school experience. College was a little better, but there definitely were times when I felt anxious and alone and not accepted and all of those things. And I feel like finding songs that made me feel comforted was so important because I could just, turn on my phone or put on my headphones and listen to something that made me feel seen. And I think that's the important thing, like finding these songs that make you feel like these artists notice you and accept you for who you are. And I think that's so important. And that's something that we're able to do as songwriters ourselves, writing songs that helped us get through a certain period of time, but also giving that to our listeners and people all over the world to show them that we are there for them and we hear them as well.
I mean, really, music is just so amazing because it connects so many people. And I think, especially with, anxiety, depression, whenever, you hear these songs about other people sharing the same struggle as you, it does. It makes you feel less alone and just more empowered just to be like, okay, I can get through this or, kind of along those lines.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think one of the most special things that I've noticed is when we're growing up, we have our idols, right? Like we love Taylor Swift and all these incredible artists and songwriters. And in our heads, we can see them as these amazing people with no problems and perfect lives and no struggles and all those things. But when you really sit back and like look at some of our favorite empowerment songs and songs with these messages that you're not alone, the songwriters behind those felt the exact same way we're feeling. And that just shows that no matter who you are, no matter if you're a celebrity or just starting out in music or whoever you are, everybody has the same human experiences, and music really shows that.
Exactly. I mean, even going back with, like, Taylor Swift, I'm a huge Swiftie, like I've said, but, her one song I remember when I was, like, 15, her song 15, had come out a year or 2 before, and I just remember listening to that song and just crying because I could just completely relate to those experiences. And it was crazy. And it did. It helped me feel less alone and kind of like, okay, like maybe I may not be the most popular girl in school right now or, whatever. But I'm like, you know, right now, what I'm going through high school, it's just one chapter. I have so many other chapters of my life that are going to give me incredible experiences.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think like bringing up the empowerment side as well. Like we have those songs that make us feel seen and that we're not alone. But there are those empowerment songs that we listen to and we instantly feel like I can take on the world. Like I got this. And I think those songs are just as equally important because like
Oh,
I know
yeah.
when I'm feeling down and like feeling like total crap and I put on like a super empowerment song that we're going to talk about in just a bit here, I just feel like I feel so much better. And I think that's really important that these artists are putting out music that lifts you up as well. And I love when I can write those songs. I'm currently working on a song right now that I can't share a lot of details about because I'm not sure what's going to come of it, but I was asked to top line an EDM track and it's an empowerment song. And like this was super fun because some of my favorite empowerment songs are like super up tempo pop EDM. So being able to write one of those songs was really fun. And so like I love those songs as well that just completely hype you up and make you feel like you can do anything.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's awesome. I think you were telling me about that. I'm, like, so excited for you, and I can't wait to listen to it. I can't wait.
See, we'll see. So now let's talk about. I definitely want to talk about two of our songs, mine Into Focus and yours War with Myself. And these are two very special songs. So let's start with you. Can you share about War with Myself, why you wrote it, and what it means to you?
War With Myself came out about 2 years ago, which is crazy that it's almost 2 years old. It's crazy. But I think for me, really the motivating factor was for me personally, when I was going through a really hard time, I felt like I was the only one who felt like that. And of course, you had people telling you that, oh, you're being over emotional or you're just trying to get attention and stuff. And it wasn't anything like that. I was feeling very anxious, very depressed. And it wasn't until someone had come to me and told me they said it in a way that was literally exactly how I was feeling. And they just shared their experiences and they shared ways that they were able to get through and to stay strong. And I think that was really the motivating factor for me was I wanted to create a song that if it could just help somebody get through the day or help somebody just know that they're not alone in this and that their feelings are valid, that would mean the world to me. And I think really that was the motivating factor. I wanted to create a song that made people feel less alone in this world and, let them know that they aren't alone in this world, especially with, anxiety, depression, body dysmorphia, all these different things. Everybody struggles in this world. And I think that was really the main thing I wanted to do.
That's beautiful. And I love how it kind of stemmed from an interaction you had with somebody that made you feel not alone. And so you took that experience and turned it into a song for others. And I love this song. It's one of my favorite of yours. Do you have any favorite lyrics from it?
Yes. One lyric I'm proud of, and I co-wrote this with Sean Rogers and Forrest Finn. They're both in Nashville, but one lyric, there's a few lyrics I love. This is one I was pretty proud of it. Um, the one that I wrote, it's It's hard living life when your mind has a mind of its own. That's probably one of my favorite lyrics from the song. And then, the other one I would have to say is, um, "In time you realize there's no such thing as closure, you get through, you don't get over."
Oh,
Um,
wow. I love that too.
those I love that too. Yeah, I think those are probably my 2 favorite lines just because with mental health, I think a lot of people think you can just switch it off in that. Like, you can switch off your anxiety, you can switch off your depression. I'm like, "No, it's something that you continually, have to kinda push through every day." It's something that you have every day, and some days are easier than others, and some days are really, really hard.
Yeah, I love how you brought that up because I think it's important for anybody listening who doesn't know. I mean, like, you can feel great one day, the next day you feel down, and it's also really unpredictable. And I think that's the thing that people don't realize. And, bringing up earlier what you were saying about like people thinking you're being over emotive and like dramatic and stuff, like, that's not true. And I think people just see these situations and say like, oh, they're just being dramatic, they want attention, blah blah blah. But it's not like that at all. And I think like the more we paint the picture of the reality and bring awareness, the better.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's something that which I'm really glad that it's getting, more talked about nowadays. Because when I was dealing with a lot of stuff in high school, I feel like it wasn't something that a lot of people wanted to talk about. It was more like hush hush. So, I think it's really important that more and more people are, open to talking about mental health for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And I think like you bring up a great point of like people kind of shy away from it and back away from it because it's uncomfortable to talk about at times. But I think like that's a sign like if something's uncomfortable to talk about, then there's a reason it needs to be talked about. And so I'm really happy that things are starting to come to more awareness and people really opening up and bringing that awareness.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to briefly talk about Into Focus, which was my debut single actually. And so I wrote this one in the fall of 2017, and I had just added my English degree. I was double majoring in music and English, which was really stressful. And I think I was dealing with other things at the time, and so I just needed something to get me through what I was going through. And so I wrote Into Focus one day when I was in the practice room at school, when I should have been practicing my classical piano piece for a recital. Sorry, Professor Kanan.
It happens, it
um,
happens.
yeah, and it turned into my first single, so would you look at that? So I think this song is basically about how when you're in dark moments of your life, you can kind of think that'll never get better. And so this song is about pushing through that, letting time pass, and just riding the waves and knowing that the sun will shine again and you will make it through the dark times again. And so that's what this song is about. And this is a song I really needed at the time, and it's still a song even to this day that people comment on, and I think that's so special because this was my first single. Like, I don't really think about it much anymore because it's so old to me, but I still listen to it from time to time. And in terms of favorite lyrics, I would have to say I really like the pre, which is relax and ride the waves because they know which way to carry you. Just close your eyes and wait for the clarity. I love that. And I also love the bridge, which is no, you're not alone when the rain is pouring down, when your heart seems to be lost in the shadows, when your eyes have lost their glow. Just remember when it's over that the sun will shine.
Oh, I love that.
Thank you.
I love that. So beautiful and so just well said and so easy to connect to as well. Because I know there are a few times where it's like, for me, I've always looked at it as like rain coming down and like trying to find like the sunlight. I don't know if that's like cheesy or anything. I don't know. But it's really not because it is so, it's just so poetic. Um, Because, it is. It's like you're trying to get through this storm of like things you're feeling and emotions and everything, trying to find that sunlight. So I love that.
Thank you. Yeah, and I think you bring up a great point with like saying it's easy to connect to because I think with songs like this, especially, we have to be careful when we're writing to not tell somebody something or preach or anything like that. And I think from writing from an authentic place with conversational language or metaphors that make sense to the concept, like in a very raw and honest way, then it comes off authentic. If you try to like say it in a very direct, preachy way, then that definitely doesn't land well. So I think that's something we have to be mindful of.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's kind of more about, you wanna try to of course, you wanna, like, help people, you just don't wanna, like, kinda tell them what to do, if that makes sense, you know? Um, 'Cause I think some people don't like being told what to do.
Yeah. Me included.
And yeah, um, but yeah, no, I think in some ways too, yeah, we do have to be a little careful. So it's kind of more of us writing from a perspective of being more inspirational than more like telling people what to do.
And I think like when you write from like your own experience and your own truth, then it's automatically going to come off real and authentic instead of trying to tell somebody what to do because you're talking about yourself and what you're going through and then that would translate to being inspiring to others.
Yeah, exactly. The more authentic you can be with your writing, and for me personally, I think a lot of my songs that I love that I've written, or even songs that like other people have written, whenever they like, I feel like they're coming from a very authentic place. They're like my favorite songs because it's like you can literally connect with their emotion.
Completely, 100%. So you brought up other songs, and I think that's a great transition into talking about five of our favorite songs that either bring us comfort or empower us. So, Madison, you first. What are your five?
Yeah, so I actually, because I had created when War With Myself came out, I remember I created a playlist of all these empowerment songs that, I loved, and just, like, a few of them, like, I was going through, it's like, so hard to pick a top 5. I would have to say for my top 5, one of them would be "Jumper" by Third Eye Blind, the other one would be, "Shake It Off" by Taylor Swift, "Firework" by Katy Perry, "The Middle" by Jimmy Eat World, and then, "I Love Me" by Demi Lovato.
Great ones. Great ones.
Yes.
I love when you told me Firework earlier. I was like, Firework!
Yes! Like, that's the song I listened to whenever, like, I was having a bad day at school. I'm like, "I'm gonna listen to this." Like, I would listen to it after school.
Firework is such a great one. Wow.
It's so good.
So my five are firstly Homecoming Queen by Culture Ballerini. Nobody should be surprised. If you're surprised, I'm sorry. My others are Rise and Shine by Cassidy Pope, Rainbow by Casey Musgraves, Titanium by David Guetta and Sia, and Okay Not to Be Okay by Marshmello and Demi Lovato.
I love "Rainbow" by Casey
So
Musgraves.
good. It's so
So good.
good.
I love her.
Me too. I think Rainbow's a great example of a song that's so simple. Like the instrumentation and production is very simple, but it just really lets the authenticity and vulnerability shine and the lyrics really come out. It's such a beautiful song.
So beautiful. I love it.
So, for any songwriters listening who maybe would like to write an empowerment song or a comforting song and they're struggling to, what advice would you give them?
I would say kinda like what we were, saying a little earlier, I think just really, write authentically how you're feeling. Don't be afraid to shy away from, the details of what you're feeling, because I think that kinda brings more, like you said, more authenticity to the song, and I think in the end, it will make people, connect with your song more too.
I love that. Also, I would also add to write something that you feel comfortable writing about because if you are going through something and you think you want to share that in a song but don't feel like you have the strength to do that or have the position to do that, then I think just write something that you feel comfortable talking about in music because if you don't, then the hesitancy I think will shine through a little bit. So, yeah, just be authentic and write about things that you feel comfortable talking about.
Yes, I love that's actually really great advice. Cause like, even looking back, for me, like, I don't think, like, when I was, like, 13 or, like, 14, I would have been able to release War With Myself because it was something I was still going through, and I wasn't as open about talking about mental health as I was back then. Or, I mean, reverse. I wasn't as open. Maybe I did say
Yeah,
that
you said
right.
it
I'm
right.
sorry. Okay. I was like, "Wait, did I say that backwards?" But, yeah, no, I think, looking back, I don't think I would have been able to release War with Myself with the same authenticity as I have now, just because I was still struggling back then and I was still, no one was really talking about it. I wasn't open to talking about it. And now I am more about sharing my I'm more open about sharing my personal struggles. So, I think definitely writing something you feel comfortable writing about is very important.
Yeah, you bring up a great other angle with like, even if you write it, like it might not be the right time to release it.
Mhm.
Because like if you think
Yeah.
about it too, it's like you got to do the interviews, you got to do the press stuff, and if you're
Oh,
still in
yeah.
the place of like not feeling comfortable talking about something, then you have this great song that you think is a great one to release at some point, but like this situation, the present situation might not be the right time. So, yeah, I think you brought up a great point with like waiting or like releasing more with myself at the right time.
Yes, exactly.
So, to kind of wrap up here, I want to talk more about the community aspect of music. We talked about it a little bit at the beginning, but I think one of the most beautiful things is finding others who connect to the same songs you do or have similar experiences that you share with each other based on a song. So, can you share a little bit about this and why you think the kind of connections that music creates are so special?
Yeah, I think it's just special, kinda like what we were saying earlier. I think it's, just helps people not feel alone in this world, and it kinda gives people, hope that what they're feeling, what they may be going through is, um, something they can get through. I think as far as, like, with the music community, I think just finding people that share that same passion that you have, and even if they do, like, struggle with the same things. I know a few years ago I did a co-write with, somebody, and I didn't know he was an advocate for mental health, but he kept, um we just started talking about mental health and how it needs to be talked about more and everything, and so that was a big connecting point for us, so we were able to, like, kinda write from that. Same with, I have a project, like a semicolon tattoo. I'm not sure if anybody knows what that is but it's for a project semicolon, and it is a tattoo representing, like, you may come to hard points where you wanna end, but you're going to continue on instead, and it's kind of a really cool feeling whenever you meet people. Like, I've had some people who have had the same tattoo, and they're like, "Oh my gosh," like, it's, like, great, and even someone even told me, they're like, "Thank you for being an advocate and for sharing your story and everything," you know? With music in general, it's such an amazing thing because a song can instantly make you feel something, and so I think, especially with writing, like we were talking about with such authentic songs, such empowering songs, those can instantly change somebody's mood and change somebody's day. And that is what I think is honestly the most incredible thing. And I think that's why I always try to write from an authentic viewpoint because if I can make people, feel something or feel empowered, is that is more than I could have ever asked for.
Completely. I 100% agree. I love that. And I think going back to like the community aspect a little bit, we'll keep going just a little bit more. Going back to the community aspect a little bit and bringing people together through music, like this is just making me think of concerts. And I really want to go to more concerts again. And like, I have so many great experiences of like the whole arena just like puts their iPhone lights on and is like in the mood and feeling like the power and the magic from the artist on stage. And it's just like I can't tell you how many concerts I've cried at.
No,
Just because of
I'm the
like
same way.
yeah, just because of like the feeling of being in that space, feeling the music wash over you. And especially when they sing the empowerment songs, it's like you feel there. Like you feel like you're in this better place. You're with all these other people surrounding you who are feeling the exact same thing. And, music truly does make you feel things. Like you were saying there at the end, like it truly can make you feel something, change your mood. And when you're at a concert and dancing or crying with a bunch of strangers, thousands of strangers feeling the exact same thing, it's just crazy.
No, I couldn't agree more. I love concerts, and I even tell people, I'm like, honestly, if you've never been to a concert, you need to go because it's like it's the most magical experience ever. I feel like, like, I mean, I've gone to so many concerts where I've like met other people and I end up hanging out with them or we end up dancing through the night and stuff. I'm like, they were didn't even know who you were, but we came together because we love these songs and we love this artist and we're just celebrating that and it's incredible.
It truly is. It truly is. And I think, like, on our standpoint as songwriters, like, when we put our songs out, like, people from all over the world are listening to those and connecting to them and sharing them with other people. I just think it's so beautiful how music has the power to bring people together and truly impact their feelings. It's so beautiful.
It is.
So, Madison, I loved our chat today. Before we go, is there anything else you'd like to share about comforting and empowering songs?
If I could share one thing, it's just I'm just very thankful for um people, even before me, like, when I was struggling, who were brave and who shared their experiences and who wrote these empowerment songs because they were the songs that helped me get through some really hard times. And now being able to write and release, an empowerment song of my own, it's incredible and it's a great feeling.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I could not have said it better myself. Madison, thank you so much again for joining me for another episode. This has been lots of fun.
Thank you.
Of
I was so
course.
happy to be back.
Yeah, of course. Before we go, can you share with everyone where they can find you on social and listen to your music?
Yeah, so you can find me anywhere at Matteson Gregory for Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and on Spotify. You can find me at Matteson Gregory.
Thank you so much again for joining me. It was lovely having you back. Listeners, thank you for listening to this amazing episode with Matteson Gregory. And of course, until next time,
Stay
stay
right
right
on
on
track.
track.